Hi, I'm Elizabeth Talbot with the Talbot Law Group in Walnut Creek, California, and we are a trust and probate law firm that handles a lot of estates going through the probate process in California. So in a prior video, I talked about what one does and what the attorney does to open an estate in California. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the actual estate work that's done after an estate has been opened and an administrator has been appointed by the court. So what does that work? So there's quite a bit of it. So first of all, the attorney should send out letters to the DHCS and FTB Franchise Tax Board and Department of Healthcare Services. Those are two things. And basically that alerts them that if they have a creditor claim against the person who's passed, they can put that in. The next thing is actually sending out notice to all the known creditors of the estate. And creditors are defined in a specific way. We won't get into that now, but basically anyone who meets that criteria gets a notice to creditors, and then they can also submit creditor claims to the estate asking for various bills to be paid. An example of a creditor claim might be a credit card bill. That's a pretty common one. At that point, once the administrator receives creditor claims that have been filed with the court, he or she can decide whether or not to pay them. And then there's further things to file with the court. The acceptance or rejection of that creditor claim, for example. So that's one thing, or more than one thing, that need to be done as part of the estate work. The next is the inventory and appraisal of all the assets and what they were worth on the day that the person passed away. So the inventory and appraisal is a formal appraisal. It's a court form, and it gets sent to a probate referee, which is appointed by the court, for he or she to appraise those assets. So a common example would be a house. The probate referee will appraise the house and give a value, and that value doesn't necessarily have any bearing on what the house sells for. It's more just to determine what was the approximate value at the time of the death of the person whose estate it is. Another thing would be a car. Bank accounts also go on there, although of course their value is easy to determine and they don't need to go to the probate referee. All right, so what are some of the other documents? If there's a bond required, you're going to have to make sure that bond is filed with the court before you can move forward. That's one really important thing. Then the administrator will need to open an estate bank account, so the attorney will ensure that they have all the appropriate paperwork, including an EIN from the IRS, lots of acronyms there, to open that bank account. And then there's various work that's either, that may or may not be done, depending on how many assets there are and if they're being sold or not sold. And things in line with that could be a notice to proposed action that has to be sent to all beneficiaries, consents to sale if something is being sold that have to be sent to all beneficiaries, that kind of thing. And then if there's real property, there's a bit more work that also has to be done, which is all the forms have to be sent to the county to show that there's been a change of ownership and that someone has died. And there is actually a timeline on that and a deadline that needs to be adhered to. And you have to be really careful with property changes because of the property taxes and how high they've gotten in California and how they change when a person passes away. So they're all important forms to pay attention to. That is a brief overview of the work that goes into the middle part of administering an estate that is going through probate in California. Thanks so much.